with Tao, authentic search and ego trip. Authentic search is arduous and ego trip is very easy. Authentic search leads to transformation of heart or invoking of the heart center, and ego trip is simply imagination. It can be fulfilled easily because nothing is really fulfilled. You start believing that something has happened to you. You are simply wasting time and energy and life. If you are really with a master, he will constantly pull you back from your ego trip, and he will have to watch you that you do not fall into its grip. And really, when the authentic search begins, you will not be able to find yourself as you have known. The ego trip, good man, moral, this and that, what has happened to that? When you find that you are nowhere to be found, where is that good man? Your ego implies that you have thought what you have thought about yourself. Everything is implied in it. It is not something that you can throw very easily. It is you, it is your whole past. When you drop it, which is very difficult, you become like a zero, empty. And as if you have never existed before. For the first time you are born, there is no experience, no knowledge, no past. You are just like an innocent child. Courage is needed for that. And it is very difficult thing to be with a master. Because whenever you are pulled back from your ego trip, you begin to take revenge on the master. You say that I was going so high, feeling so good, just on the verge of exploding. And he says that nothing is happening, you are just imagining, you are pulled back to the earth. With a real master, it is difficult to be a disciple. The disciple almost goes against their masters at times, because the disciple in the beginning is on ego trip, and the master is trying to bring them out of that state. And these disciples create false master, because these false masters, they will give you a certificate, they will tell you, yes, something is happening, this and that. With the authentic master, it is very difficult to help you to remain on the ego trip. Remember well, check every day and every moment your search is not an ego trip. Sometimes people ask questions and I have to look into where this question is coming from. You have to go on checking. It is subtle, The ways of ego are very, very cunning. They are not on the surface. Someone asks, is there difference between the teachings of Jesus Christ and Buddha? They happened, there is a vast span of time between the two, like Buddha and Bodhidharma. If you have experienced truth, truth never changes. It is like the Newton's law of motion or law of gravitation. There are 3 laws of Newton. To every action there is a reaction. The law of gravitation says everything when it falls on the ground. It was being taught 1,000 years back. It was taught, it was known and seen and experienced before Newton, the law of gravitation was discovered. But you only know it now. There are laws of physics. The people will be teaching in different countries the same, they are professors of physics or chemistry or anatomy or physiology. So will they be using a different method of surgery in Germany for the same disease, or in India or in US? There are certain things basic that never changes. And the explanation, the language, the words may be different. So you are asking the question out of your own ego trip. You are feeling very high that you have asked a question that Buddha happened 2,500 years ago. Jesus happened afterwards. There was a vast gap. They never met each other. Was there similarity in their teachings? This is ego trip. And the moment the master hammers, you feel offended. And this happens on a day-to-day basis. Someone said, now I have changed the guru. I have another guru. And I am very happy with that. Very good enough. The ego trip is always looking for experience, sexual or spiritual. It makes no difference. The ego is greedy to experience this and to experience that, to experience Kundalini, to experience these different bodies. Ego is always after experience. The real search has no greed for any experience, because all experiences are going to frustrate you. And you remember, when you say, I am experiencing this, how do you experience something? You use sense organs. Sense organs belong to the body. Through the eyes you are seeing, through the ears you are hearing, through the nostril you are smelling, through the hands you are you are touching. So these are all parts of body. Body and mind are together. And information comes through a form comes through the eyes. It goes to the mind for processing. So mind is looking out if there is a similar experience, and then it will give a suggestion, otherwise it will say no experience is available. So the Upanishadic prayer says, may I hear that which cannot be heard, may I see that which cannot be seen. So there are 5 outer organs of perception and 5 inner. So ego trip experience comes with the interaction between the outer sense organs and the objects and beings. But the real experience, which is not experience, it is in a way realization. It comes when the inner faculties, inner organs begin to operate. So ego trip is always for experience. It does not matter whether it is sexual or spiritual. It is always, real search has no greed for any experience, because any experience is going, or whatsoever you experience is going to frustrate you, is bound to frustrate you, because the experiences are repetitive. You tasted something, it is a repetition. If it is not a repetition, your mind will not be able to give the judgment. Then you will get fed up with it. Then you will again demand some new experiences. The search is always for the new with ego. You will meditate, and if you are only meditating just to get a new thrill, because your life has become boring, you are fed up with your ordinary routine life, so you want to get some new thrill. You may get it, because man gets whatsoever one wants to find. That is the misery. Whatever you desire, you will find it. And then you will repent afterwards. You will get the thrills. And once you get the thrill, then what? You want to take drugs or something else, then you are moving from this master to that, from this ashram to the next, just in search of new thrills. Ego is very greedy for new experiences, and every new experience will soon become old, because it becomes the part of the memory now. You experience something now, it will become part of the memory. Whatsoever is new will soon go into the womb of the past. Then again, but spirituality is not search for experience really. Spirituality is search for one's being. Love needs thrills. So you want to experience different forms of love, different states of sex, love making, and then frustration comes. But a spiritual search is search for the being. If you are on a spiritual search, then you are not interested in relationship to experience one state and move on to another. Instead, you are waiting to experience for the state of lovingness, the state of being, not for any experience, not even the bliss, not even for ecstasy, because experience is one thing, outer thing. Experience happens when these outer sense organs interact with objects and beings. Howsoever inner it may appear to be a different layer, but it remains the outer. Spirituality is the search for inner being that is inside you. I must know what is my reality. And with that knowing, all greed for experiences vanish. And with that knowing, there is no urge. There is no urge to move to another experience. With the knowing of the inner truth, reality, the authentic being, all search ceases. You do not move for experiences. All experiences are nothing else but the tricks of the mind. All experiences are just escapes from the reality. Meditation is not an experience, it is a realization of the state of being. Meditation is not an experience, rather, it is stopping the process of all experiences. When all experiences finish, people come to me again and again. They said they were experiencing this, they were experiencing that. These are nothing else but imaginations, thinking, an ego trip to convince the master. You can convince a fake one, but the authentic will immediately know at what level you are. Meditation is not an experience, instead, it is the state when all experiences cease, vanish, dissolve, then a state of being comes in. Because of this, those who are really have tried to express the inner happening. For example, Buddha, they say, do not ask what will happen there. Or if you insist, they will say nothing happens there really. When he was asked, what did you gain? He said, I did not gain anything with enlightenment, instead I lost everything. And I say to you that nothing will happen in meditation. Really nothing happens in meditation. Simply a state of being comes when all experiences ceases, but you are on ego trip and it is difficult to differentiate between authentic search or the search of the ego. Nothing will happen in meditation. What will you do? You will stop meditating, because if nothing is happening, why should I waste my time behind it? If nothing is going to happen then what is the use? That shows you are on ego trip. If I say nothing happens there, you will say, okay, I have known many happenings and I have known many experiences, and every experience have proved to be frustrating. Pass through this and then you will know that I was nothing. Then there comes, and then there is an urge to repeat, and then repetition, and then the boredom comes in with repetition. Then you move to something else. Like one person told me that, I said, when are you coming? He said, no, I have changed my master. I have another master now. Very good. This is not a spiritual search but ego trip. Then you move to something else. This is how you have been moving for lives and lives, for thousands and thousands of lives. You have been moving for experiences from one master to another, from one situation to another, from one relationship to another. And in each relationship, what came to your hand is nothing else but frustration. You say, I have known experience. Now I don't want any experience. I want to know the experience. The whole emphasis changes. Experience is something outside you, and there is three things: experiencer, the experience, and that which is to be experienced. In a sentence, there is a subject, there is a verb, and there is an object. So the experiences, the experiencer, that which experiences, is your being. And this is the distinction between true spirituality and false, authentic search and ego trip. If you are for experience, then spirituality, your search is false. If you are for the one that experiences, that is your state of being or beingness, then you are not concerned about Kundalini, you are not concerned about chakras, not concerned about this thing or that thing. There are people who are not bothered about anything. All they are interested in just to be in the presence. They will, many things that will happen, but you are not striving for. You are not concerned with them. You are not interested in. And you will not move on these by paths. You will go on moving towards the inner center, the experiencer, where nothing remains except you, except your total awareness, except your total aloneness. The only consciousness remains, and consciousness is without content. Consciousness with content is ego trip, and consciousness without content is the authentic. Content, what is the content of the consciousness? Is your experience. Whatsoever you experience is content. And when you ask me that you have this experience and it is a very strong feeling I was getting, it is the content. I experience misery, then misery is the content of my of consciousness. If I experience pleasure, then pleasure becomes the content. If I experience boredom, then boredom is the content. Then you can experience silence, then silence is the content. So you are moving from frustration to no frustration, boredom to no boredom, disturbance to silence. So your consciousness has a content in it. And then you can experience bliss. Bliss, silence, peace, harmony, these are all contents, and you are so much clinging to content that you go on changing ad infinitum. But this is not the real thing, the real search. Real search means you want to attain to your beingness, the consciousness which is free of all contents. The real one is one in whom these experiences happen. To whom boredom happens, he is not differentiating between boredom or this or that, boredom and bliss. The real is the one to whom experiences happen, to whom boredom happens, bliss happens. The spiritual search is not for what happens, instead, but to whom it happens. If it is happening, to whom it happens to the mind, then ego trip, you will be concerned about it, that you are feeling boredom, you are feeling disturbed, you are frustrated. It is all happening to the mind. When you are not concerned with anything, it is like the thoughts, images, and things keep on passing on the television screen. Your mind is the television screen on which many things happen. You can remain involved in any particular screen, or you can remain unconcerned about it. The real search is the TV screen is doing its things and you are not bothered about it. You are using it for entertainment. You are not interested in what is happening. Frustration, bliss, peace, silence, but you are concerned with to whom it happens. Then there is no possibility for ego trip to happen. You have moved from experience to experiencer. This is the first step. Then in the next step, the three, the object, the subject, the experience, everything dissolves. There is no one to experience and nothing to be experiencing. The screen is going on. The scenes are happening on the television screen. Is a continuum process. Is happening. But there is no one to experience this and nothing to experience. You are neutral to everything. You are not affected by it. First, you have to move from the experience to experiencer, your beingness. Then everything dissolves. That is where the three phases of the reality truth, Sat, Chit, and Anand. Sat is an experience, truth. Consciousness is movement. And Anand is the interaction between truth and consciousness. Then you experience bliss. These are the three phases to enter the innerness, or Satyam Shivam Sundaram. That which is truth is eternal, and that which is eternal is beautiful. So then all have merged into one another, and that oneness is the creator. It has three aspects: creation, preservation, and destruction. That continues. So first you move from the experience to experiencer, then everything, the experiencer, the experience, the process, everything dissolves. Things are happening around you, but you are not affected by this. It is like a state of the anesthesia. When an operation is to be performed, a surgery is to be performed on you, You are given an anesthesia that benumbs the faculties, that you do not feel the pain during the during the period the surgery is being performed. So something like that, you are in a state of inner toxication, inner, that you do not worry about what it is happening. You know this is like a temporary phase. This too will pass. This problem has come in, it will remain for a certain time, but the people around you will try to magnify it. So you listen to everyone and can say this too will pass. You may be worried about if there is any financial problems. You have to manage it prudently, any circumstance and situation that comes in practical life, but remain unconcerned about it. And that is where the real difference is between authentic search and ego trip. Enough for now.